was growing up, my family had a cabin on a lake. My grandfather owned it, and my family and I spent many summer weekends there. It is not a stretch at all to say that it is where I grew up. It is where I was able to cultivate my love for fishing, swimming, shooting, canoeing, all things outdoors. My days at the cabin were always full of wonder and excitement, and yet were so simple that the hardest decision on most days was what to have for dinner. Out of all the places I had ever been, it was the one place I truly wanted to be. After my grandfather passed away, family relations began to sour and became contentious. Eventually, my uncle, as a way to get some quick cash, decided to sell the cabin he inherited from his father. He offered to sell it to my dad, but by that time my dad had grown so fed up with his brother that he refused to give him the money. He would tell me later that it was one of the biggest mistakes he ever made. Eventually, another buyer stepped forward, and the cabin was sold. My oasis in the mountains was gone, and my heart was broken. That was 13 years ago. From time to time these past few years, I would occasionally check the real estate listings in the area, just holding out hope that maybe, just maybe, a cabin on that lake would become available. On one November afternoon, to my shock and surprise, I found one. The asking price was steep, and at first glance, it seemed my return to the lake was still nothing but a pipe dream. But something told me to look into my finances and see if I could actually afford it. After running the numbers, I was surprised and elated to see that there was a way I could make it work. 2 days later, I visited the cabin with the real estate agent to look it over. 2 days after that, I submitted my offer to the seller. It was rejected. The seller was not backing off their asking price, knowing full well that someone would pay it. And they were right. I had to act fast before someone swooped in and took it out from under me. I once again combed through my finances. The monthly mortgage payments would not be the problem. It was the money up front. I looked everywhere for the funds for the down payment and closing costs. Every bank account, every retirement fund, every last penny. It just wasn't enough. I felt the cabin slipping away, and all the old wounds from more than a dozen years ago were being ripped open anew. Then, I got a phone call from someone who, since the day I was born, has wanted nothing more than to see my dreams come true. With the down payment no longer an issue, the real estate agent drafted an agreement of sale for the asking price. On a snowy Monday at work, he called me to let me know that the seller had signed it. But that would not be the end of the obstacles I would face. A home inspection revealed a badly worn-out roof and a damaged fireplace. In its present condition, I would not be able to get insurance, and thus would not qualify for the mortgage. Fortunately, when the seller was approached with this information, they agreed to pay for the cost of the repairs. Add to that, however, a rejected appraisal a last-minute mortgage adjustment, a late commitment letter, and a delayed closing date, and the ensuing weeks went anything but smoothly. It came down to the last minute and the last dollar. But on February 3rd, 2020, the cabin officially became mine. This is about much more than a cabin on a lake. This is about righting a wrong. This is about coming back to a place where I know I have always belonged. This is about a heart that has been broken for over a decade, finally getting the chance to heal. This is about my childhood, my legacy, my happiness. This is about coming home.
I'm home.
When I grew up, my family had a cabin on a lake.